welcome to the brand leadership team. Happy to have you here and presenting to council today. Thank you all for your volunteer efforts and the time and energy that you've put into this project. It's very much appreciated. And we look forward to your presentation today. So Leslie, are you taking the lead?
I'm going to start? Yes.
Great, thank you.
Maybe drop one. There we go. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We are so excited to be here today to present with you the great work that's been done on the Squamish Brand Enhancement Project. Presenting today are members from the brand team who also represent some of the key organizations supporting this initiative. Myself, Leslie Weeks, Executive Director of Tourism Squamish, Alice Gus, Educator, Squamish Nation, Jeff Cook, President of SORCA and Director on the Chamber of Commerce, Glenn Davies, President of the Downtown Squamish Business Improvement Association. We would also like to acknowledge the other brand team members in the audience, as well as district staff, Councillor Heinzman, and Squamish Nation Councillor Josh Joseph. On behalf of the four of us presenting, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity for participating in this important community project. Today we'll be sharing with you an overview of the project, the brand strategy, the branding, development, marketing action plan, and finally, the timeline and next steps. The Brand Enhancement Project was initiated and endorsed by the District of Squamish, Tourism Squamish, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Downtown Squamish Business Improvement Association. This collaborative community project kicked off in January this year with facilitation provided by Roger Brooks, who has guided more than 30 Canadian communities with their 13-step brand development process. There were 17 volunteers, plus support provided by district staff and an ex officio counselor, bringing to the project representation from more than 28 groups, organizations, and businesses, 320 plus years of marketing, communications, and branding experience, 270 plus years lived in Squamish. To date, the group has dedicated more than 550 hours and counting of volunteer time, including data analysis, meetings, workshops, homework assignments, email correspondence, community engagement, and action plan reviews. So why did we do this?
Apparently that's bitter.
The aim of this project was to define the spirit and personality of Squamish, to articulate the unique attributes that make Squamish the destination of choice to visit, relocate, or bring business. We hope that the outcomes of this project will help to inform a new economic development strategy for Squamish. This is not just about a logo, a tagline, or a marketing campaign. This is about growth for Squamish, and it will have a solid return on investment. A community with a strong brand is more competitive when it comes to attracting visitors, new business, and residents. This translates into more business for existing businesses, more money flowing into the local economy, new businesses and services, and a stronger, more diversified population base, which will increase the local tax base. Another reason for undertaking this project is to solidify our community vision. Squamish has soared this year in product development, in media coverage, in visitation, and in our own community spirit. But we still have work to do to take Squamish from good to great. And we need to do this as a united community, as one team. Defining a brand for the community ensures that our local organizations and community leaders are all in one canoe, pulling in the same direction. No matter who we are speaking to, at the heart of every communication will be the same brand message. Every resident is a brand champion, sharing, promoting, and encouraging family, friends, business, and industry to explore, visit, invest, and lay roots in Squamish. Last week, I attended a workshop hosted by the Tourism Industry Association of British Columbia. The theme of the workshop was tourism as a driver of the provincial economy. And the workshop explored the role and importance of destination marketing. A strong, unique, cohesive community brand was identified as one of the top 10 influencing factors for consumer decision-making around travel destinations. So what did we do? Roger Brooks's methodology is heavily focused on community engagement. To kick off, Roger Brooks and the Mayor introduced the project at a community presentation and outlined Roger's role as facilitator. A brand development committee of community volunteers was formed, and interviews and focus group sessions with local organizations and businesses were conducted by Roger's team. To gain clarity and input from the community, we launched a survey. The first thing we learned is that our community is engaged. Squamish cares. 1,143 people weighed in on 7 open-ended questions, totaling 300 plus pages of survey data reviewed by our team of volunteers and then distilled down further by Roger's team. Squamish had the highest response rate per capita of any community that Roger's worked with. A community open house with an update on the project was hosted by Roger and the Brand Development Committee. And finally, a brand leadership team of community volunteers was formed to work with Roger's team on the branding, development, and marketing action plan. What did we learn? We learned the good, the bad, the ugly, and the amazing. These are some of the themes that came to the forefront. Squamish is about outdoor lifestyle. People visit here and move here for it. We are youthful, active, vibrant, and creative. We are grateful for our natural surroundings. We live an unscripted, down-to-earth, somewhat rugged lifestyle. We are forward-looking with an entrepreneurial spirit, and we are proud and respectful of our First Nations heritage and our hard-working logging industry roots. Considering all the data collected from the surveys and gaining a better understanding of who we are and our biggest challenges, the brand team was able to start building the brand strategy. And I'll pass it over to Jeff to walk you through the brand strategy.
Thanks, Leslie. So armed with all the research that we had, we began development of the brand strategy. But before I get into that, I think it's worthwhile just taking a couple of minutes and talking about what makes a great brand. First and foremost, a brand is not all about the logo. In fact, it's just a small part of it. A brand is not about the tagline. It's not just about one sign. It's not about one ad. It's not about one poster. The best way to describe what a brand is this. When you say the name of a product or a service or a community, what do you feel? What do you think of? What emotions come up for you? For example, when I say Ford Mustang, what do you feel? What images pop up in your head? And how does that compare to when I say Jeep? They're both vehicles. They both get you from A to B, but they're both very different brands. And the powerful thing is that one word can evoke so many connections in your brain. So can you take the logo off a Ford Mustang and slap it on a Jeep car, and does that make it a Mustang? No, it doesn't, because it's more than just the logo. The brand is really a summation of all the pieces. In a car, for instance, using that example, it's the things like the size of the engine, its shape, the tires, the interior finishing, the fuel economy. So a powerful brand, one that creates economic opportunity, is a result of consciously managing all those pieces. So as a package, they fit together and they lead you to feel a certain way. That for me. Here's another reason why managing your brand is so important. People will come up with a feeling of what Squamish means to them, regardless of whether we have a strategy or not, whether we manage it or not, whether we're proactive about it or not. And this will be based on their experiences. Experiences like, what did they see when they drove through Squamish on the highway? What was their impression when they drove down Cleveland Avenue? Did they catch a big fish when they were here fly fishing on our rivers? Did they see 100 eagles? Did they have a great bike ride? Or did they get lost on the trails? Did they have a great dining experience while they were here? Did their car get broken into while they were hiking the Chief? Did they feel welcomed when they came into the community by the people that live here? All of these things will shape how people feel about Squamish and therefore shape our brand. But here's where we have a choice. We can either leave it up to chance and hope that everything goes well and people have good experiences, or we can proactively manage it so that it works to our advantage and so that we end up with what we want. So a great brand strategy starts with a real compelling point of difference. So what's compelling about Squamish? We went back to the research to find out why people come here to live and to visit. Well, we know we have outstanding rock climbing. We have a very extensive and world-renowned mountain bike trail network. We have excellent wind conditions for kiteboarding and a plethora of wind sports. We are surrounded by parks, lakes, rivers, and stunning forests. And amazing bald eagles visit here every year in huge numbers just to be counted. When you look at those images that we just saw, you might think, hey, these are just postcards. And they could be. But the beautiful thing is that they're real. And they're things that people can see here in Squamish every single day. But there are other places, for instance, that have great rock climbing, like Yosemite, right? Moab's a great place to mountain bike. You can kiteboard really well in Hood River, Oregon. You can also see eagles on the Fraser River. But what truly makes us unique, and the reason people are compelled to move here and to bring their businesses here, is that this is the only place where you can experience all of these things. No one else has such high quality adventure sports opportunities all within 10 minutes of each other. Now that is unique. That is remarkable. That is compelling. And that is Squamish.
I want to clap now.
Nailed it. So based on this research-driven insight, we developed our brand position statement, which I'll take you through now. So our brand position: youthful, intelligent, and active people who highly value outdoor activity and their connection with their natural surroundings. Squamish is the community that has, within 10 minutes, more breathtaking outdoor adventure opportunities than any other community in Canada. Now, a good brand position is made up of 3 pieces. So, Glenn, can you flick the next one, please? The first bit is the target, and these are the people that will find the most value in what we have to offer, okay? So they're the youthful, intelligent, active people, highly value outdoor activity and their connection with natural surroundings. The next piece of it is our frame of reference, or kind of our competitive set. And we've chosen each one of these words very purposefully. And we chose community because we wanted it to be a place where people come to live and to work. And that's different than a resort destination like our friends to the north. We don't think that's what we are, and it's not what we want to be. We primarily want to be a community. And then the last piece is our unique point of difference. And this is what really makes us different. And if we stick to the strategy, and if we stay focused here and approach it in a disciplined way, we will be able to own this position in the minds of people. Now, this brand position statement feeds into what we call the brand promise. Our brand promise is that you can experience the world's most epic outdoor adventures from sea to sky, all within 10 minutes of one another. That summarizes what people can expect when they come here to live or to visit. But the key in building this credible brand is making sure that we deliver on what we are promising, that our product is what we claim it is. You know, we've all been to restaurants where we order something and it comes out and it's not quite what we expected and we feel disappointed. And that disappointment can leave a scar on how you feel about that restaurant for a very long time. So we don't want to make that mistake. And to make sure we do this branding exercise well, we have to make sure that what Squamish puts on the plate is at least as good as the picture in the menu. So we went back to the research and found out from the residents and the non-residents what are the primary obstacles or challenges in bridging that gap between what we're promising and what we need to deliver. So here's a summary of the most important things. First, we need to be crystal clear with who we are. And we need to communicate it well and get everyone in the same canoe pulling in the same direction to the same rhythm. We need to make it easy for people to find what we have to offer. We need to get people excited about coming downtown and to our waterfront. People are coming here to hike and bike and climb and kiteboard and paddle and see the eagles. But do we have the right amenities in place, like washrooms, gear washing stations, parking, maps, directions, that increase the likelihood that people will have a remarkable experience while they're here? Do we have a balanced approach to land development, timber harvesting, and trail preservation, particularly in the areas that are closest to town? We want to build this community into a place where people can live and work, but do we have enough well-paid jobs? Our community is inherently spread out. So how do we make that work? And how do we build connectivity that brings people in different communities together? These are the challenges that residents brought forward through the survey. There's a lot there. They're big issues. But the good news is that we are at least clear on what the issues are, and we have developed a plan to begin attacking them. I'm going to pass this over now to Glenn, who's going to take you through the most important pieces of that action plan.
Thank you, Jeff. So we're at the point, you're probably at the point where you're saying, show us something. What have you actually done? And that's what we want to do. But first, I just want to recap a few very important things for all of us that are here today, because a lot has been done. I saw that statistic a little earlier, about 550 hours, and I got to say, I think we passed that a couple of months ago. There's been a lot more going on. So the brand teams have pulled together everything that they've learned, and it's been a lot. And they have worked with our consultants to build the brand strategy, including our brand positioning, brand promise, key messages, right down to our tagline that we want to reveal to you today. So the good news is the brand strategy is now done. It's complete, and it's really, really awesome and good. So a little recap for you would be to say this. We have surveyed and engaged our community. And when I relate to those 550 hours, I got to say this. I look at Leslie, I look at Jeff, I look at Alice, and of course myself, and everyone else who's been part of the committees and the teams, and have to say that we represent spheres of influence, when communities of influence, and I don't know about you guys, well, actually I do know about you guys. We have not stopped talking to everybody we know for months about this whole process, and asking them questions, and getting their feedback. So I just want to stress that the community has been highly engaged and highly involved, and like Leslie said earlier, good, bad, and ugly. We've got lots of feedback and a lot of comments, and yet we've persevered and moved forward. And so we've gone beyond that. We've learned a lot about who we are as a community. I moved here 5 years ago with my wife and two younger children, and got to tell you that, spent 25 years just driving by. Maybe going to Tim's or Starbucks and just driving by. And we were here, I don't know, about 6 months to a year. And I remember asking my wife, because we'd left Langley, and I said, "Are you okay about this? Do you like it here?" And she goes, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" It's an amazing place. And so we learned that. We learned that from everyone. The survey results, going through them, were so encouraging, because 95% of those survey results were incredibly positive and energetic about our community. We learned what was truly, from that research, unique about Squamish. And it's amazing what is really unique about our community. And so this has all led to our brand strategy, and finally to what we want to show you today, our brand identity. We've built the brand identity that includes the logo and a family of brand elements that support how the brand will be expanded across many applications, including signage, websites, collateral, and corporate materials. We stress, once again, that except for the logo and the tagline today, everything we want to show you are concepts. They're ideas on just how our team has been able to press this out into various areas of our community. So it's now time to show you a few elements that represent our brand. Alice has brought a drum here today. I'm a drummer, but I forgot my snare drum for the drum roll. Are you ready? I forgot. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. This is our logo for you today. And to explain the story behind this logo, we're going to ask Alice to come on up.
So, Hosiam Eochtnoya. So, the story of the Squamish logo. The logo of Squamish represents our past and our future, our connection to the outdoors through the sky, the wind, the land, the water, and it symbolizes our diversity. Our name Squamish is the English adaptation of Squamish, means mother of wind, and people of the sacred water. The Eye of the Creator icon that sits proudly above Squamish represents the powerful connection that our people from Squamish Nation residents dating back thousands of years to residents of today have nature and the magnificent scenery that surrounds us, the oceans, the mountains, the granite, the forest, the wind, and rivers. These natural elements have defined us and our changing economy through the ages, and today offer a lifestyle packed with an adventure that sets Squamish apart from all others. The Eye of the Creator is framed in Coast Salish red and black and adorned with blue to represent our community's youthful exuberance, vibrant nature, and a community rich with generations and cultures. Blue also tells the story of the glacial waters that pulse through our rivers into the ocean and our expansive sky. Mirror image whales' tails form the center of the eye, further demonstrating our community's oceanic connection. We are youthful, we are bold, we are deeply connected to this extraordinary landscape and the adventures it provides. We are innovative and entrepreneurial, and we stand tall as we lay down a strong foundation for an abundant future in Squamish. We'll see you.
Yes, thank you, Alice. I can speak again for the whole team that what we've come up with, the clean lines of it, the freshness of it, but also the nod to our First Nations, to our heritage, was important, and we're really proud of it. The next piece is something that we also took a lot of time working on. We went back consistently to the research, to the words, the key words that people put forward to describe our actual identity, who we are as people living here in Squamish. This piece that we want to show you next is really a key piece. It's our identity. It should describe in some way, shape, or form who in fact we are. It's a piece that tells people something very unique about us. And these type of things are challenging to come up with, especially something that everybody will go, oh yeah, that's perfect. So let's go back in time a little bit to a tagline that we've had for a number of years called the Outdoor Recreation Capital of Canada. Anybody heard of that before? It's great. It has served us really, really well. And a number of people are very proud of that tagline, and they should be. The reality is, I remember again, 25 years ago, coming to British Columbia and driving up over the years through this place and going from here to that other outdoor recreation capital, a little bit north of us, and looking at that tagline and saying, really? Explain that to me. How is that so? And so we've had a good look at it, and we've all agreed that it is good. There's nothing wrong with it per se. It has served us well. But the reality and truth is that it is not unique. In fact, the truth is it's very generic. In North America alone, there are 137 communities that describe themselves as the outdoor recreation capital of somewhere. Jeff had mentioned Hood River, Oregon. Well, actually, Hood River and Bend have got a fight going on because they both claim to be the outdoor recreation capital of Oregon. St. George, Utah is the outdoor recreation capital of southern Utah. And I have no idea how northern Utah feels about that, but that's the way it is. Canmore, Alberta is a world-class outdoor recreation community. So the reality is that we wanted to find something that really speaks about who we are. That people in this community, when they hear it, will be able to say, yeah, as I think about it, I am that. This led us down the path of hours of discussion, numerous ideas, reviewing the research, revisiting them over and over again. What actually sets us apart? What can we put our name on and say, this is us, looking for a way to capture our brand promise and our true identity as a community? We have found 3 words, which is pretty good. And they're 3 words that we believe we can absolutely own. In other words, they're unique to us. Words that set Squamish apart and declare to both future visitors and residents something that is in our very DNA, in all of us, young and old. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are hardwired for adventure. I remember when that was first presented to our team, we were all asked to just look at it. Just think about it for a second. And so let me remind you, as we're doing that, of our brand promise. Our brand promise is this: you can experience the world's most epic outdoor adventures from sea to sky, all within a 10-minute drive. Hardwired for Adventure tells you something rather unique about Squamish. Imagine, again, traveling that highway from Horseshoe Bay to Whistler, and you see that attached to a sign. It's like, really? What are these people? What's going on there? And of course, if it's attached to something that shows a picture, that tells a story. This is something that we want you to understand about this. Our identity, who we are, is that we're not programmed. We're not man-made. We're not a resort, as Jeff said. In other words, we're not Whistler. We love Whistler, but we're glad they're 45 minutes north, and we can go there summer and winter and enjoy them. We are natural. We are edgy. We are a little rough around the edges, although we all got dressed up today. We are youthful. We are energetic. You guys look good, I gotta tell you. And we are multi-sport. So let me show you some images. And again, I want to show you images on the basis of idea, concept, and how this particular tagline can be used to describe who we are. Here's one for you. Here's another. What these images show you is that people who are involved in branding and marketing, whatever the field of endeavor might be, will be able to take this tagline and they will be able to use it in their various genres and sports. Another strength of a logo is when you can actually place it into a graphic. And it can be all white, in reverse, per se. Or it can be black. Or, of course, it can be in full color. So these are some of the ways that we want to represent ourselves. And again, these are just examples for you to be thinking about how Hardwired for Adventure can be used. We believe that this particular tagline works on all kinds of levels, amazing levels. We, the people who live in Squamish, are hardwired in our core, in our DNA, in our souls, per se, in who we are, whether we're younger or older, whether we seek extreme adventures like Triple Diamond over routes and all the rest, not me, or where we just want to go hiking around the Four Lakes Trail or take the lift up the gondola and hike up there. It is something that we believe young and old can actually say, yeah, you know what, that's why we live here. We want to be around that kind of enthusiasm, that kind of youthful energy. And it's something, again, that we can truly, truly own. Squamish itself is hardwired for adventure with all of its natural assets, connecting lakes, rivers, and oceans, and our human-built assets like trails, rock climbs, and the town itself. It can also be tied, interestingly, to our innovative and emerging economy with a nod to the tech industry, knowledge-based industries, outdoor recreation, educational institutions, etc., as well as the existing logging industry and pioneers of Squamish. It's about our DNA. It's about who we are. And it's something I believe all of us can be proud of. It does work on many, many levels. So as we look at these things, the next thing we need to do is we need to talk about a brand action plan. And I'm just going to highlight a few things today, and I just want to point some of you in the room here today, we do have copies of this, 94 pages. It's a great report that details everything that's happened, but also all of the various action plans are listed, the things that we get to do and we want you to look at as we go through this. So here we go. This is our brand action plan. Number one, it's been built by the community for the community. It has been built by all the people who have been part of these committees, all of the research that's been done, and it's extensive, 55 recommendations. I love the fact that somebody put it in chronological order. It makes it really easy for us to follow. Do this, and then do this, and then do this. It's great. So all 94 pages, by the way, will be posted on the district's website after this meeting, and we do have some hard copies at the back. So after months of meetings, our brand leadership team, with input from our consultant, they built this plan. It to us is like a compass and a toolkit that we can refer to going forward to keep us on track and for strategic partners as they come on board. The action plan addresses the challenges we heard and helps guide us so that we can deliver on and promote one consistent brand message and brand experience. Again, 55 items in chronological order, including things like comprehensive wayfinding system, gateway signs, highway banners, ways to our hubs via trails, improved downtown business signage, etc. Again, let me show you some examples on screen here. For example, we need wayfinding signage all over our community. We need, when people come to this community, oftentimes I have people come to me downtown, a little tiny cafe, and they'll ask, where is this? How do I find this? And they've, in some cases, been going, we drove up Highway 99, we went down Depot, but we couldn't find the Eagles. Things like that would be very helpful. This is what we need to address with our wayfinding signage. Again, wayfinding was one of the things that in our surveys, over and over again, people asked for. People said was necessary. Wayfinding is much more than, again, as just signs. It's how we demonstrate the essence of our brand and what makes us unique. It looks like, quite frankly, we're organized. It's how people find out about everything Squamish has to offer, how we actually connect our communities. I've often described to people, it's funny, but Squamish is almost like a metropolitan city. We have a downtown and then all these burgs. And we need to connect those things. It's how we experience our trails and our waterfront, how we create interpretive and cultural experiences. So there is work to be done and some challenges obviously to overcome, certainly related to highway signage, but today we begin the process of discovery and inquiry. And so here are some more examples for you. Some banners that we would love to see on the highway that show the various things that we do in this community and that are available in this community and that describe how hardwired for adventure we actually are. And here's how some of these signs might look like on the highway. One other thing that we heard from our survey on a regular basis was this. Please make downtown awesome. Please make downtown awesome. As a landlord, a tenant per se, and president of the BIA, this warms my heart. It is an amazing place. Again, I've said to a lot of people since I've moved here from Langley, Fort Langley area, to me the future is obvious. It's just going to happen, but it also is going to take some work. So this is another area of priority for the residents to our survey was actually the condition and the opportunity of our downtown core. People were critical in one sense, saying, would you please make it prettier and cleaner and things like that, but they were also, we love downtown. We want to be downtown. We love the shops that are there. We just want to see more. And so the BIA has really, in the past, we've actually commissioned a survey a few years ago, and the results were actually strikingly similar that we got from this survey, and that's a good thing. The key point is this, what did we learn? Our community wants our downtown to be a vibrant, exciting, and a place that is open for business. And when I say open, they mean at night, on the weekends. One of the other things we saw is that people would like a theater back in this town. Go figure, there are babies everywhere, right? We'd like a theater. The interesting thing is that I can say from a BIA perspective, maybe because I'm on it, that the work has already begun. We're already excited about what this brand development committee and process has meant to the downtown core. And so a number of initiatives have taken place, including our downtown summer nights, where we've been encouraging more businesses to be open, closing Cleveland, inviting people downtown. It's a start, we know. But it was successful, and it was really an awesome thing. So with this great new brand identity, we now believe downtown, we can move forward. In fact, we've been encouraged by our consultant and the process to maybe look at trying to find a way to actually brand Cleveland Avenue and the downtown core. That'll be another interesting exercise. Especially one of the things we want to be able to do is attract new businesses. With this brand and this identity, I believe we are able now to say to gear companies, outdoor adventure companies, clothing companies, restaurants, come on downtown. Let's all get together and let's back this brand and this identity. One of the other things that our action plan highlights is this. And Jeff kind of alluded to it, not kind of, really well alluded to it a little while ago. We need to better support our outdoor product. We need to be able to make sure when people come here and visit this community that when they leave, the experience was awesome. And so that includes making sure that everything is in place that they need, including things like bathrooms in appropriate places. Just to give you some examples of the things that we've been thinking about, when it comes to eagle viewing, as I've mentioned, we need improved signing on how to actually get there. We need signing and we need parking areas for cars and buses, and we need better viewing areas. We need to seek funding for volunteers and provide those washrooms. When it comes to mountain biking, we need to continue the District of Squamish grant for trail maintenance. We need to back these things up with this protection. So first, one of the things we need to do is make sure we have the amenities in place and protected. But secondly, what we do know also is this: as more people are attracted to this community, whether they're tourists or residents, more pressure is going to be put on our environment. And so we need to be cognizant of the fact that we need to back it up, and we need to come clean up and restore and make sure that our environment is protected as we invite many, many more people to this community. So once again, 94 pages. All of the action items are in here. I'm not going to list any more, but there are many more for us to tell you about and for you to read about. Lastly, we need to focus and align our marketing. This is a critical component of going forward, and this simply means we need to make sure this gets out to every constituent in our community. As you can already see and hear today, many of our community's key organizations are keenly involved in this project. Many of us have already taken the step to transition to new brand elements already, and we're ready to go. Work still needs to be done to transition to the new brand identity and bring other organizations and partners into the brand. This is one of the areas that we saw a tremendous amount of creativity flowing during this branding process. I can't remember how many times we would sit around as a committee, and when we get on an idea or we found an area which needed improvement, we'd go, this is exciting. Many ideas have come forward, including how we can use social media, guerrilla marketing, develop some apps for adventure that people can download to their phones and link everything together. Great ideas, and these things need to be focused and aligned. That was actually the second finally. Finally. I know. Thank you. Finally, and truthfully, Mr. Mayor and Council and guests, this screen is intentional. It's plural and it's collective. We need to make this happen for the sake of our community. I remember a conversation within a few days of announcing to someone in our cafe that I was on this team and that this had been started. And one of the comments that was made to me is, oh, another process, another committee, another report that may never happen. We need to make this happen. This is a great plan. We have a great logo. We have a good tagline. It's going to take our whole town, a collective move of our whole town to do this work. We need strategic partnerships that are already in place with the district, Squamish Nation, Tourism Squamish, the BIA, the Chamber, Squamish Arts Council, and more. This is just a start. We must continue to listen and include everyone in this community. Everyone in this community. I want you to remember this, one thing that Roger taught us early on, and that is this. Every one of you in this room, most people first come to a community as a visitor before they choose to move here, live here, and even before they choose to start or move their business here. And so it's our goal to make every visit an amazing experience for these people. In my 30 years of brand development experience, there is one thing that I've learned. I've narrowed it down to one thing, really, and it is this. It's the most important thing that I've learned. If you've done the hard work of research, it's a lot of work to do the research, to listen, to ask more and more questions. If you've done that, and you've really learned what or who your product or service is, and who their ultimate customer is, then no matter how good you are and how hard you have worked, hear this, there is no perfect logo. There is no perfect tagline. But the one thing I have learned is there is such a thing as darn good. Really darn good. And that's as more, yeah, that's the most exclaimed word I can use, considering one of my other roles. I want to suggest to you we have done really, really good. And I'm very proud to have been part of this team with everyone else who's on this team. And so to close this off today, we're going to ask Alice one more time, as a member of our First Nation, the people who first moved here and made this their home and their community, and who named this place, called this place Squamish. I'll just turn it over to Alice.
Hosiam éocht noia, hasqual stays hachten squan éocht nature. It's a beautiful day today, and I am honored to be a part of this committee along with these beautiful people. Can you imagine when I started, who would have thought that over 1,000 people would have responded as being part of the team right from day one? And it's extraordinary of all the work what Squamish wants to put in back into the community. So the teachings of the circle here today, that we are all equal, one mind, one body, one spirit, one Squamish. You know, I'd like to thank our elders for their blessings of working on with the logo. I'd like to thank our counselor, Joshua Joseph, for being here today. So with that, I just want to thank everyone, because the beauty of the people working together for the spirit of Squamish, because this is who we are as the people. And with that, I just wanted to share a bit about the teachings just out that surrounds us. You know, the teachings of the Canada geese, they all fly we all know they fly in the V, but they all cooperate. If someone gets tired up front, they go in the back. The teachings of the cedar tree, stand tall, be proud of who you are, branch out, but at the same time, you have your strong roots. Teachings of the wolf is being a team, a unit, a family. And the last one that I wanted to share with you, no, just kidding. So with that, I just want to pass the mic to our counselor, Josh, and see if you want to share a few words. We are going to sing the victories.
Thank you, Suecia Spakwas. Sorry I didn't write a speech today, but always come prepared. But I just want to really acknowledge and commend the branding leadership team. I'll call you the leadership team because you're all leaders. You all developed this wonderful concept and brand that really brought our community together, and I'm just really honored to be here to witness this wonderful presentation, and it's good to see the mayor and council here as well, and I definitely will take this back to my council team and just let them know this wonderful work that's been put together. So just honored to be here, and I'm ready to jam out to the victory song. Let's see ya. forgot to announce that song comes from our ancestor Hohopenum and Kolano. I just always mention our ancestors that passed that song down to us. Osium, thank you.
I thought we weren't allowed to clap in council.
There's occasions where you throw that out the window. This is just an amazing day for Squamish. Fantastic presentation, an incredible amount of work. I just can't imagine how you could take over 1,100 responses and work it down to reflecting what we are and who we are and how we identify ourselves as Squamish. We could go on and on and on and fill volumes about who we are and the great things about Squamish, and yet to go through the work that you've done and to bring it to an expression that a visitor or a possible investor can look at and say, wow, that's Squamish, and that's a great place to live and to raise a family and to have your business and to invest in. I think you've done an amazing job, and I congratulate you for all the work you've put into this, the many hours. I think before you even started, there was a picture of the group on the screen, and to me, that just said it right from the beginning. We're launched into this with excitement and enthusiasm, and so it's no wonder you've been able to produce great results with the community engagement and involvement that went into this program. I think you've done a great job. I think you really nailed it. I love the whole action plan, and this is not the end. This is the beginning approach that you've taken. Really looking forward to bringing all of us together, District of Squamish, all the organizations, community groups, so that we can all be saying the same message and conveying the same story. Well done, excellent presentation. Thank you for all the great work you put into this program. Councillor Pryor.
I tell you, in the last 20 years, I've gone to so many presentations, and so many groups have got together trying to move things forward in our town. And this by far has had the most passion. I mean, I was almost in tears listening to some of it. I never really did understand planning like I do now. And I used to think, well, Squamish, just the name Squamish, that should be enough for our brand. It's nice, And so you came out with this beautiful, simple logo that is, it's just so much more than I could ever imagine with the eye of the creator there. I mean, that to me, it gives me goosebumps. And so, it's just fabulous. And then, the hardwired for adventure, same thing. I mean, I didn't expect any of this near as much passion as I feel when I read this stuff. All the pictures you had there. I just think it's such a success. The one thing we have to remember, and in saying that after all the presentations and all the groups I've sat on in the years trying to move things forward, get to this point and now the work starts. And so, that's where, like the presentation says, we have to collaborate and work together, which we really do. And so, in moving this forward, we have to all even put in a little extra, like council and city hall and funding and all this stuff for our wayfinding and all that. It's time now that we have this to really push that. So I just applaud you all so much on that. Now, the last slide we saw there had one mind, one body, one soul, and one Squamish. Does that fit into this, or was that? I love that as well.
I guess the answer then is it could, but it was actually to screen for what Alice was presenting to us.
That also spoke to it all.
It does.
To me. When I love the word Squamish and how simple it is there in the eye and everything. I just love that. I love wired for adventure. It's just like Jeff explained, it just brings everything in. But the one mind, one body one, that is also awesome. Epic. Okay, fabulous job. Anyway, so I'll help in any way I can in pushing it forward. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Kirkham. It really was my privilege to work with the various people in the groups. I was the ex officio member of council on this committee. And right at the outset of this, I mean, it was almost hard to just call it a branding exercise because that almost belittled the purpose or the ultimate goal. It was a way to frame the conversation, but it really, my hope and expectation was that it would be so much more, and I think the community's achieved that. And I'll just tell you from working with the people, and it was a variety, there was of course, all the focus groups, there was the surveys, and Roger Brooks, as he said, he's never seen a community come out like we did with the surveys. And then working with the two different brand teams, and there were different people on those brand teams. We battled each other, we had good debates, it was constructive, it was challenging, it was interesting, but it was passionate. It was all, like, really, I have to say kudos to the people who were directly involved in it. They put hours into this. And they all had such a conviction that we deserve this and we're going to be great. I think, you know, Roger's team has put forward, with the brand leadership team and the community, a pretty comprehensive document. And there's action plans and a strategic way to, most of these action plans we've been talking about for a long time, wayfinding and, you know, all these nuts and bolts things that we've kind of been put on hold until we actually take this fragmented vision that we've had out there and coalesce it in a message. And I think ultimately, this lays the groundwork for those types of things. It's much more than brand. It almost diminishes the whole thing by calling it a brand process. Is it going to be tweaked over time? I'm sure it will be. But I think it's, you know, I've seen a lot of these types of documents, and I've seen a lot of stuff to come to council. I've never seen as much controversy and enthusiasm as I have for this project. And so ultimately, I'm hoping that it really lays a foundation for a whole bunch of different things for the future of Squamish. It's all optimistic, it's all energetic, regardless of your age or demographic, as Glenn said. So I just want to really thank the people who put the extra time into this. Vanessa and Christina, our staff, have been there from the beginning, have been absolutely awesome on this. I can't say enough about them, and really helped facilitate this motley crew of people who were debating through all this stuff. So I want to thank them, and I look forward to seeing the outcome of this. I think this is really putting us in good stead on a lot of aspects of our community, whether it's the work that's done in the District of Squamish or whether it's all the work by all the organizations. Good on you. Thank you very much, and kudos.
Councillor Race.
Thank you. I had the opportunity to read this over the weekend. It was forwarded to us last week, and so I've gone through it now 3 times. And I think I echo other comments. This is a fantastic piece of work. I have great admiration and gratitude to the people that worked on this. My only concern with this is when I look at this, and I looked at it again, and I looked at it again, this to me is quite focused towards just one part of our economy and one part of our community. And I wouldn't want to see it somehow exclude other parts. It is very much, in my view, focused on the tourism industry, for example. If you look through it, there's numerous examples of bringing visitors to town. And that's great. And the tourism industry is certainly one of the mainstays of our economy. It is something we should embrace. We have many things to offer the tourism industry. We are, as Jeff said, unique in the things that we can offer within just our immediate area. But the other things that we can offer is things like road and rail and deep sea ports. We're in the middle of a working forest, a significant player of which coincidentally is the Squamish Nation. And I wouldn't want to see those necessarily excluded. I think the challenge going forward, it's easy to say we just want to focus on the rec tech industry and tourism. We like it, it sort of fits our lifestyle. But to be honest, I think that's too simple. I think that's too easy. I think the real challenge for us going forward, and going forward under a brand like this, is to work with together with other sectors of the economy. We have a proposal in front of us, contentious, I'll admit, for example, for a major industrial facility down at Woodfibre. So let me ask the rhetorical question, would that fit into this brand? And I know a number of people in the audience would quickly say, no, it doesn't, because they've been quite vocal in the community about that, but that's an example. Are we saying that we're going forward just on one sector of our economy? Is that what the brand is focused at? Or does it somehow acknowledge that there are other things? It speaks to some forms of industry, light industry and other activities, but they're really, when you look at them, they're all kind of sort of focused in that one sector. It talks about, one of the comments, for example, proud of our hardworking logging industry roots, which is our history, certainly, and looking forward with entrepreneurial spirit. And I read that, and I read it several times, and it begged the question for me, looking forward to what? What is our vision for our community? Is it just this, or can it also expand to do other things? Because as I say, I think the challenge for us going forward is certainly to focus and grow what this brand covers in this report, the visitor aspect, rec tech industries, associated things, and focus on these strong points that we have as a community. But I think the other part of the challenge is incorporating some of the other assets that this community has. And they're dirty words to some people, but they are industrial, they are commercial. Certainly we don't want one messing up the other. Obviously, we want to make them work together. But I think, in my mind, this brand, if it's going to work, it has to kind of encompass or acknowledge that as well. One of the key challenges includes well-paid local jobs. Well, we can hope one day, perhaps, that they would all come out of the rec tech sector or the tourism sector. There's dangers in becoming focused in just one sector of the economy when you're looking at the long-term sustainability of a community. And I've always thought our real strength was having a lot of different things to offer, not just one sector. So we must include everyone in this community. To go to the final slide, I think that's what the brand has to expand to. The logo, I think, will grow on me. I love the First Nations part. To be perfectly honest with you, when I looked at it, the eye of the creator just didn't connect me immediately with Squamish. I actually have that on my wall at home. I walked in a painting that includes that. I love the connection with the Squamish Nation. I think that's very appropriate. I'll let that logo grow on me, if you like. And my only thought was it's not, for somebody from Kansas or Ontario or something like that, it's not intuitively Squamish. It's First Nation, certainly, but it doesn't necessarily bring us to Squamish when we have iconic geographical features, iconic wildlife like eagles and salmon and so forth. It might quickly connect people, but I think it's a matter of educating not just ourselves, but also probably the tourist public and the visitor public. That's what it means, and that's the connection, and that's the importance of it.
Thank you. Pretty much everything has been said. I have gratitude for the committee to the amount of work that you guys have done to put this together, and and the fact that we have such a diversified community, and that I think this logo is actually stunning. And the tagline is more like a hashtag for me. I really don't. It doesn't connect to this logo to me, but for me, Squamish is a brand. When I'm outside our city and I'm speaking to groups, when I say Squamish, that is what is echoed back to me. Oh, Squamish, lucky you're in Squamish. And Squamish has become a brand on its own, and we have already seen a swell in tourism of 300,000 people in our community this summer, and tourism is undeniably an economic driver in our community and will hopefully attract industry leaders. We already have industry leaders. Unfortunately, a lot of the manufacturing is done in China now, and our leaders are home-based businesses in that community. And I echo the concerns for a diversified economy, but as long as we are using this logo and wayfinding, all of the work that you guys are set to task to do is all essential to our community. I completely agree that the wayfinding and the amenities and the way, Jeff, the way you spoke about the community, I felt the same way, almost driven to tears, because you recognize the issues and the challenges as we move forward, and we have to recognize that. We have to make the experience of when people visit Squamish, we have to have that visitor experience be inclusive and recognizing that tourism is a major driver of our economy. But you know, the tagline "Hardwired for Adventure," you know, when I first heard it, it didn't. There was something too hard about it, and I was like, "Hardwired. Let me think about that." And I could use that for a while, but I would hope it has grommets on it, so that when we have a new tagline, that we could flip it over to something else that is used for our community in the future. And I definitely don't mind it being used in a tourism aspect of things, or but when I looked at those pictures, the pictures of tourism with Hardwired for Squamish, I wanted to not see the tagline. I just wanted to see Squamish, because to me, when I see kiteboarding, rock climbing, and all the diversified sports and issues that we have, or everything's 10 minutes from Squamish, that's why I moved here. But you know, just saying Squamish underneath, it's so understated with such a massive amount of nature behind it. Why do you need to say anything more except for, you know, Squamish is a brand in itself. The amount of work that you guys put in, I'm willing to accept and tweet "Hardwired for Adventure" and use it as a tagline. But I'm hoping it won't be included in our signage and everything else, and that it will just be the Squamish logo because Hardwired for Adventure now, but then if it changes and as our community grows and changes, that tagline can be something else. Because people, when you look on social media, when you look on what drives everything, Squamish is the hashtag that people use. People hashtag Squamish, and you know, you don't see "I had an epic," you don't see, unless it's something negative. So yeah, I'm really hoping that I'm happy to see how it goes. You know, I'm happy to use it and embrace it and see how it goes and use it to full capacity. But I'm also hoping that Hardwired seems like my first thing is computer. That was my first thing that I thought about is computers, and it's going to be out of date very shortly. But with this logo, I think that we can go forward and have that. I much prefer this graphic to anything I've seen with Squamish, and I look forward to having a comprehensive branding strategy moving forward. So congratulations for all your work. It's fantastic.
Councilor Haskell.
Yeah, just wanted to address a few things. The brand committees and all the people who worked on this looked at a million different community logos. And if you put this up against all the other community logos out there, they all look generic compared to this. And one of the things that Roger said from the beginning is jettison the generic, and I think we've done that with this logo. It really, I mean, the other logos look cliche, and this is something completely different and innovative, and I think sets us apart. The tagline caused the group endless, and I'm sure sleepless nights for our staff, because it's such a challenge to come up with a really good tagline. There were a million different suggestions out there. When this one sort of organically evolved, it was like the whole room went click, because it met a whole bunch of different criteria that we're trying to think. And I actually don't think it's incompatible with a lot of our more heavy industrial activities. You can absolutely use this to talk about forestry and mining or whatever else we might have out there. So it's absolutely not incompatible with that type of thing. In fact, I think it will actually help galvanize and defragment some of this us and them stuff that's been going on in the community. So it was laborious. The conversations we had about tagline and logo seems like took up about 50% of our time. But those are the hard things, because we all understood the big picture stuff, and there was unbelievable themes that came out of all the surveys that led to this document. Fine-tuning these things, because we also knew the community would focus in on these two things, the tagline and the logo. I actually, you know, Hardwired, our current outdoor recreation capital of Canada came about as a series of coincidences, using it in some ads, in some magazines. A couple people just going and putting a sign up, and then District of Squamish just organically started to use it without even knowing that hadn't actually done it themselves. So it's, you know, this one will be used until it's time is run out and we'll come up with something else. This doesn't mean that we're completely set in our ways. This is simply a launching point. And believe me, we went through a ton of stuff to get here. And it was like a eureka moment when we finally sort of all came to the conclusion and we're really, really satisfied with it, so.
Thank you, Councillor Pryor.
I thought quite a bit about industry, same as Councillor Race did, but I didn't see our logo as something that was, necessarily to attract businesses as much as, you've got the eye of the creator there looking out after us. I agree, Squamish to me is a logo itself right there, but I mean, I think that with the industry stuff, it's kind of another subject. And like Councillor Heinzman says, you try and pick one tagline to fit it all. I don't think you can. And if it was me and it was my business card and I had that logo on it, I might not take Wired for Adventure. If I had a moving company, I might put my own little thing underneath it. So I think for the purpose that this was done, it's great. But, we went to UBCM and had all these conferences last week, and if we wanted to do something for industry and the forestry business, there's a lot more we can do than talk about this for the forest industry. There's all sorts of other ways we can help that. So the hard thing now is getting as much done as we can as soon as possible. I mean, everybody in here has already said, that's great, or it's good. Now let's get it moving forward and not start trying to find another.
I think you used the phrase darn good. Is that the reference?
That was my cleaned up version of that, yes. Could I make a comment?
Yes.
Related to Councillor Race, is it?
Yep.
I think it's a really good question. We focused on outdoor adventure aspects because from a marketing perspective, it's, we need to go to where our perceived strength is. And particularly an area where we can coalesce the community around one thing where we all can agree on that. But just as a creative idea for you, and this is where creative people can come in and help, but there's absolutely no reason why from a economic development perspective, we couldn't say hardwired for business. And there's a lot of connectivity that you can work out of that. The word adventure itself doesn't just mean athletic adventure. It means taking a risk, being entrepreneurial, etc. So just to say, from a creative perspective, it could spread into other areas.
Okay. And Jeff?
So, because we consciously made an effort not to make this about tourism. And we really wanted this to be something that attracted people to live here and possibly start a business or move their business here. And we were thinking about, well, who are the people deciding to move a business here? And at the end of the day, it's always people. It's people that own the business, that have a family, that have kids. They want them to grow up in a certain environment. And they want them to, the people that we offer value to are the ones that, value outdoor recreation. Now, they can operate a dog training business or a computer business or an auto body shop. It doesn't matter, but what they share in common is this connection to nature and to the outdoor sports and adventure. And that's what we're selling in a way. That's what we think offers the most value. Now, and speaking from Sorka's point of view, we've been able, the whole mountain biking culture in Squamish has grown up in tandem with the logging industry. And we've been able to work in partnership with them and work cooperatively with them, particularly over the last 5 to 10 years. And to sit down with people like BC Timber Sales and negotiate out, well, what's a reasonable place to log and what can we do when the place is logged to recreate the trails. So I think, that industry and recreation can coexist, and people that may come here to work at Wood Fiber will be very happy to be rock climbing and kiteboarding and mountain biking. Hopefully they'll get into that culture. So I don't really see it as two separate things, like we're either rec tech or we're industry. I think what we're trying to say is we want to attract the people, and what we did the research was with the people of Squamish and the people that visited Squamish. This is what really compels them to want to live here, what they find of most value. So if we can get those people to have a really good experience living here, then maybe some businesses shift with them. You know, maybe they decide, hey, you know what, this is a good place that I want to set up my business. This is because this is where I want to raise my family. This is where I want to live. So that, and the same thing with the kiteboarding. You know, we've lived in cooperation with Squamish Terminals for a very long time, and that's worked out quite successfully. And we've built this brand as it is so far, and this reputation for outdoor recreation with these major industries right in play with where we recreate. So it can work cooperatively, and I think it can work quite well.
Alice?
Just to add on to Jeff, when you're talking about, because when they did the surveys, we got all the information from what they told us. And what they told us was the rivers, the lakes, the mountains, the wind, all that stuff that surrounds us. And so we are pretty well trying to base of what was fed to us. And we just wanted to, yes, it's not going to be just pure tourism. It's going to be, like I say, that we want to draw in the people into Squamish, put Squamish on the map. You know, I went to another small community, and I went and picked some soap berries up in Logan Lake, and then I went to Merritt. When I went there, and I was like, okay, now what? First thing I went to was another First Nations person, and I said, okay, I said, where is there a lake? Is there a lake around here? No, we don't have any lakes. I go, oh. Well, they said, well, we got the river, and I said, yeah, okay. And then, so it was a matter of showing again who we are and where we come from. We're proud of Squamish, and we want to tell the world who we are. And if I wanted to go to Squamish, I wanted to know where do we go, right? And wayfinding is one of the best things, and like they talk about the apps, you know, all these little things, just to make it easier for someone to walk, drive past Shannon Falls. Or if they come over from Whistler. Because, you know, 2010, it had opened this space so much. The world comes to Squamish, and you come to Whistler, and you come to Vancouver. So the beauty is, you know, we just got to tweak and reboot. We got to keep up. Do we want them back? Do we want to give them bologna or a steak? Come on. Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
Your presentation was amazing. The whole conclusion and where you've come to with the project is amazing. And I really appreciate this conversation that we've had just at the end here. I think that's been very helpful. It's been commented about so many things in our community that need to get addressed that are in your action plan. And I think that's really critical as far as we're moving forward, touching on things like wayfinding, welcome signs, washroom facilities, all kinds of great things there that we've all been like, this is not up to par, this is not a reflection of who we are. So I really appreciate the action plan that's come with your presentation. And let's get on with it. So thank you very much. Great work. Fantastic project for us to grab a hold of and to march forward and to show who we are to the world. So well done. We have some recommended motions for adoption that are captured on the agenda. Councillor Heinz, are you moving all of them?
Moving all of them.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Chappelle. Any question or comment on the motions?
Giddy up.
Councillor Chappelle.
Thanks, you. I was just, the funding mechanism, I'm hoping that whoever is incoming in council recognizes that the funding is very important. We've tried to do wayfinding before, and it's always been stunted through budget process. This is an essential, wayfinding is an essential service that needs to get into our budget for next year. So, and also
Commitment.
There we go.
I will call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is unanimously carried. Thank you very much.
Good job, guys.